Hi folks, I'm just taking a little bit of a walk around. This is very early spring and this is our first really good sunny day, and probably this is too sunny to do all of this, but anyway. This is what I created, was the rose and herb bed. Unfortunately we have Swampy, who is our resident swamp wallaby, not to mention possums, etc. But I think Swampy has demolished my roses. There's still a few here, but I don't think they'll last the season. And I've actually dug up a few from where the vines are and put them in pots and to try and save them. One thing Swampy doesn't seem to like is lavender, which is a great blessing. And I'm putting, at least I know when I buy lavender, it seems to be safe. This was the whole row that I bought last year in the bargain table. And they haven't been touched. But this is all the lemon trees, which I have been feeding them. And these are pear trees, but there's no sign of any life yet. I think this is an apricot, which is just showing the first sign of blossom. And as I said, I shouldn't be doing this now, the sun is bright. But you can see the pink blossom here. I'm assuming it's a cherry, I'm not sure. But we're just walking up the top where the grapevines are. And of course I've trimmed all those in August, or it was actually late July. And hopefully they should be sprouting soon. And the little protective baskets, I took out roses there, and I've put in Mexican sagebrush, one of the salvias, and I'm not sure if Swampy likes those, so I've covered them for the moment until we find out, at least until they get established. And another Mexican sagebrush in here, and just walking along the grapevines. And oops, another Mexican sagebrush. As I said, I'm not confident with putting new stuff in anymore, unless it's lavender, because Swampy's having a wonderful time. And we were fairly distraught this morning. I'll show you where we replaced a rose bush, but where our poor old Georgie, our pussycat, where we buried him, the cockatoos had got in and they shredded the rose. I was there, plus the lavender. I mean, they just come along and wreak havoc. So I'm going to have to stop putting the seeds up here. I'll put it down near the pond. But the other birds don't seem to do any damage. But the cockatoos are so destructive. Beautiful birds. Now this is a little bed at the back, which again Swampy has decimated. So I finally found some of the jute netting, and I've put that over because there's lots of alstroemeria here, which should be well and truly established, but certainly not on the top because Swampy's eaten it all. But you can see some of the gladiolus are starting to appear, as are the elephant garlic. But I'm hoping this will keep the birds and Swampy off this bed. And in here we have some sweet peas and a Clematis montana, the white one, which I thought was dead, but I didn't pull it out. I trimmed it back and there are now blossoms coming. So they're fairly rampaging, so hopefully that will take off. And I'm standing up here behind the Pollinator Patch, which is jam-packed as usual. I just cram everything in. walk down. I'm just walking with this so far, it's not edited or anything, I'm just walking along, looking into the Pollinator Patch. And these are a few roses that I've saved from Swampy. And I've got a spearmint there and a pomegranate. And these three, I'm not down to remember the names, these three are bare root roses which I've just purchased at an end of season sale, and I've ordered 4 more. Luckily enough I had Graham Thomas, which I replaced the shredded rose over Georgie, so that was good to have that. Now this is again a raised bed which Swampy was having a lovely time, so I bought some lavender around the edge and I got some of the jute netting, and so far so good. I put heaps of seeds in here of all sorts of things. I can never remember even what I'd done. The zinnias, cosmos I think, all sorts of things, snapdragons, little punnets, but we'll see. This is where we should start seeing a bit of action in the next while. Rather messy compost and another raised bed again. This was where I think I showed you before there was actually wallaby poo right in the middle. He jumped in and had a lovely snack. But anyway, I've planted again, I've overplanted, but we will see what happens. Oops, just do it over here. I thought I'd actually lost my sedums, but they're back again. Autumn Joy. I put some little cuttings in here, but they seem to have survived. This was the olive tree that Swampy ate, plus all my rosemary, but I've put netting over now, so hopefully they will come back. I've got a couple of little species tulips in here. These are Dutch Irish, which haven't flowered yet. Miniature daffodils. And some of the species gladiolas. What is it, the communist Byzantium? Again, they've just sprouted. I never remember this one. I keep calling it beautyberry, but I don't think it was. I thought it was a lilac, but it's not a lilac. But I'll remember at some stage. And then, of course, I've got the elderflower, which is doing very well. This was chopped right down when all the works were done to clear up all the fallen trees. We've got garlic chives in here, which is one of my favourite flowering things. Some tulips, or not tulips, narcissus, which I had left over and I just popped them in here. So they're doing all right. And again, some lavender around here and some narcissus. Again, lavender seems to survive, and the bees are now coming out, which is good. I was a little worried there. I thought we're not getting any, but I think it's been a bit too cold and rainy. So I'll just walk back up here. Again, these are all narcissus that I just plunked in that were dug up when the works were being done, and I just put them in. And here we have the Pollinator Patch. I've got no idea how this is going to come up because I have crammed so much in. Well, better too many than too little. But I had a lovely artichoke here, a huge one, but the wind came along and knocked it out. So I put some sunflower seeds and I think some, was it zinnia or some cosmos, I can't remember, in here. And this is a rose. Where is he? Coming through eventually. This is the, I think this is the beautyberry, I'm not sure. And these were pots that I just, I potted up with the pollinator mix. In there, again, one of the roses coming back. Lots and lots of borage. We've got some poppies here, but again, nothing's actually in flower yet. Cornflowers. The borage is taken over, but that's all right. I can thin it out at another stage. The verbena here. Got so much stuff. It's a wonder anything's growing. I'll be choking. But and the little roses. And as I said, there's not much out yet. But, at least it's all thriving, and these are the roses. I can remember, what did I get here? Wallerton Old Hall and Roald Dahl and Lady of Shalott. These were 3 of the 4 that I bought just in season sale. I've got another 4 coming from another rose nursery, but I used Graham Thomas to put over Poor Georgie. And these were all roses that I rescued from Swampy, and a spearmint. Again, another mix of pollinator mix, so whatever comes up there. As I said, I just throw things around. This is all kale, which I've allowed to go to seed and flower, which I'm assuming the bees will like. There we go, and a stack of borage in here. And I think I've got a set of Morton Joy I have underneath all this, but I'm sure I'll pull that out, the kale out at some stage. And plenty of borage. I can't see many bees. I did see earlier. But anyway. There's certainly plenty of bee food. All we need now are plenty of bees. I think there's one floating in and out there. But as you can see over the... I'll just walk back down again. Again, it's early spring, so there's nothing much romping away. Hopefully that will happen. Here. But we thought Swampy was having a field day. Well, the cockatoos moved in and they've shredded some of my citrus into my big pots, and then this morning they shredded Poor Georgie's rose. Here they all are, look. We know it wasn't Swampy did the rose because the leaves weren't touched, but I had all pansies and lobelia all in here, and they have been shredded and pulled out, and a couple of branches of the citrus have been pulled out. This was full of pansies, lobelia, all gone. Same here, all gone. And this poor kumquat didn't survive. I mean, he was way up here and they've just chopped it to bits. Their beaks are very tough, the cockatoos. They've been known to shred houses built with cedar. And over here we have poor old George. As I said, we've just put, this was totally shredded. So I've put Graham Thomas down here at the bottom and the surviving lavender, and I've just put this netting round until at least it gets established. But poor George, it was very sad to see it all pulled out and ripped off and broken up. They're just terrible. They're beautiful birds, but oh boy, do they cause havoc. Now these two aren't the big cockatoos. Oh, they've gone. They're the ones with the blue eyes. But anyway, so I'll just take a quick walk. Where am I? This is probably going too far, and I should be editing, but I'm not. These are gardenias down here. This is where usually the birds are feeding, and the little pond, and just to walk through here. You can hear hubby in the background doing his whippersnipping. I'll just finish off here with the camellias that are fading off now. There's been a lot of rain, but they're magnificent when they were here. But that's about it. But every morning you don't know what you'll find on 3 acres. As I said, this morning was most upsetting. Daphne coming to the end. Winter Daphne. And just through the arch back to the house and the greenhouse. That all probably wasn't very interesting, but it just shows you the seasonal changes. And as I said, this is the first day that we've actually had a nice sunny day for ages. And just looking up at the Pollinator Patch. And that will have to do. I think I've overdone it and probably quite boring, but it just gives a walk through and how things are going. In another month there should be a lot of activity, and hopefully, and we still have some left to enjoy.